Hello, Internet Magic Man here from MMOBomb.com, bringing you episode 2 of Ask MMOBomb, the show where you ask questions, we give you answers, whether it's free-to-play related or not. As you'll see behind me, it is officially fall, so Damina's already broken out the bad guy for Halloween, and I'm sporting my American football shirt, ready to go for this season. So, let's get to some questions and answers. Before we get to specific ones that were sent in, we want to let you know that there were a few questions that a lot of viewers gave us, such as, do we plan to do every episode outside? No, we don't. We're actually looking at a number of different locations, indoors and outdoors, and some special events for you guys and girls. So we'll keep looking into those, getting the different locations for each show, as long as you keep providing the questions for us to answer every week. Second, a lot of people were wondering if we intend to bring the free-to-play cast hosts on this show. Absolutely. That's the whole point, is to try and bring as many of them together as possible to give you differing opinions. Damina, obviously, is my wife, lives very close, can do the show. Havoc and Celsius live close by. We're looking at getting them on the show as well. Both are pretty eager to do so. And even Brim and Kaylin don't live all that far, so when they're in town, we can definitely have them on the show as well. Spunkify's a little harder. I'm East Coast, he's West Coast, so I think an Ask MMOBomb with both of us on the same camera shot's going to have to wait until like a convention or something that we're both at, but we'll definitely try to do that as well. So the intent is, yeah, we want to bring in as many of the free-to-play co-hosts as possible. So let's get to your specific questions for this week, starting with the first question from Ann Equalist, who says, love the content, lots of useful information. Thank you so much, Ann Equalist. We appreciate that. And Ann Equalist wants to know, where did you meet all the beautiful people on the free-to-play cast? All right, we can take you through that. I started with MMOBomb last November. December, January is when we decided to launch the free-to-play cast. And I needed some people to come on and try it out with me. Damina is my wife, so that's kind of an easy one. We met in high school, we're dating ever since, and ended up marrying her, so she's an easy one. That's my wife. Most of you know that, but many of you may not know that Havoc is actually my real-life brother. He's younger than me by about 2 years, a little less than 2 years. So, real-life brother there. Celsius, he might as well be my brother. I mean, he's my one of my best friends there. I've known him for about 15 years now, and we've done a lot of gaming together as far as reviewing games and telling you what sucks and what doesn't. So, yeah, he might as well be my brother, but real-life friend, if you want to be specific. Now, Kaylin, Brim, Hera, Zera, and Sajero, all 5 of those hosts we've actually known for years via role-playing games, MMORPGs, specifically WoW, World of Warcraft. We're in the same raiding guild. Some of us have come and gone, but that's where we basically all met. So we've known each other for a long time. Some of us have met each other in real life, so that helps build relationships too. But yeah, that's pretty much all the hosts. Shady and Chips were at MMOBomb before I arrived, so it just seemed natural to bring them into the show as well. Spunkify's the same way. Didn't know him very well until he came over to MMOBomb, been getting to know him and work with him on more and more things, and it just seemed natural to have him on the free-to-play cast as well. We've also had 2 guest hosts, aka Mike B and IRL Jasmine. Now, they make content for their own specific sites or sites that they work for, but they were nice enough to come and appear on the show. So that pretty much sums up everybody on the free-to-play cast at one point or another. We've had some viewer hosts as well. I can't claim to know them personally, but it was very cool meeting them, and we're planning on having a few viewer hosts next month as well, so stay tuned for that. That's the entire free-to-play cast lineup, though, guys. And Equalist, I hope that answers your question. MMORPGs, bringing people together to appear on the free-to-play cast is pretty much what happened. Next question! Okay, so Freddy902 says, are the rumors really true that Turbine is working on a Mac client for Lord of the Rings Online? Alright, Freddy902, here we go. Now keep in mind, Turbine has not said, as of this recording, anything official yet. So everything I'm about to tell you is my opinion, based on information that you can find on the internet and from various other sources as well. I would say yes, these rumors are true. What happened, for those of you that don't know, is the Riders of Rohan expansion pack was delayed until October. But then they dropped the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, from it. And people that were in the beta did a little bit of data mining and got some information out there that there was a beta client that was going to be in Riders of Rohan and should come out with that expansion. Now that's pretty good news if you're a Mac gamer, because up until now, if you wanted to play Lord of the Rings online, you had to use one of the unofficial Mac clients, and sometimes they got a little dicey, a little tough to use. Some of them were downright dangerous, so depending on your sources. So this is pretty good news for Mac gamers, particularly Havoc, who plays everything on his Mac, as you guys already know. So why wouldn't Turbine acknowledge this, or announce it, or just say, yes, you're right, we have it all? Well, they haven't come out and denied it either. So my take on it is that it may not be ready by the time Riders of Rohan drops in October. And Turbine is holding back on acknowledging that it's there, or that it's going to be in the expansion, because they're just not sure if they're going to have it ready by the time the expansion drops. Maybe it's shortly thereafter. That's really the only reason I can think of that Turbine would kind of keep mum on the word and not say anything about the beta client, the Mac client. So I would say, yes, they're true. Yes, we'll probably see it around expansion time, if not a little later. And I wouldn't be surprised if, as we get closer to the expansion's launch date, if Turbine finally acknowledges, yes, we do have a beta client. But, hey, that's nice for you Mac users. Finally get a native client for a pretty popular game. Good question. Next question. Okay, so Starmnaz says, do any of you play Final Fantasy? Yes, I know it's not free-to-play related. I'm just curious. And if you do, what's your favorite? I wanted this to be good so bad. Yes, I'm a huge Final Fantasy fanboy. I readily admit it. I played Final Fantasy XI online for years with Celsius and Damina. I mean, it was one of our favorite MMOs for a long time, and we sunk a ton of time into it. 14 we were pretty pumped about, and as all you know, it sucked. It was awful. I'm hopeful for version 2.0 sometime in early 2013. I like some of the trailers they're putting out, but all of us out there know that Square Enix does some really awesome trailers. They did for the original Final Fantasy XIV, and now the Collector's Edition is sitting on my lawn. So if I'm going to say online only, it's Final Fantasy XI. However, if we go back and look at all the Final Fantasies, I would say my favorite is Final Fantasy III if you're in the West, Final Fantasy VI if you're in the East. To me, Kefka was just a great bad guy. Shadow was awesome. The Esper storyline was fantastic. And even though the graphics may not hold up to today, since we're talking about 16-bit, the storyline and even some of the music on the 16-bit cartridge is just fantastic enough to make you want to play the game now. So, for me, Final Fantasy III on the Super Nintendo in the West, Final Fantasy VI if you're in the far East. I'll give you Damina's. I can't really give you everybody else's because I don't want to speak for them. But Damina is a Final Fantasy VII girl. She absolutely loves Cloud, Midgar, that whole storyline as well. Now, to be fair, Damina had never played any of the Final Fantasies until we were in high school. She wasn't even a really big gamer at all until I made her buy a PlayStation 1 in high school and Final Fantasy VII. Now, Siphon Filter, as many of you know, listening to the free-to-play cast, was the game that really got her into gaming, but Final Fantasy VII was the RPG of choice. Now, she's since gone back and played the other Final Fantasies as well, but Final Fantasy VII still is her favorite. So much so that there was a time she considered naming one of our children Sephiroth. Yeah, that's how much she loved the game. I'm a huge gamer, and I didn't even want to take it that far. But to this day, I'm not sure if she would have had I let her or not. I may have to challenge that if we ever have kids again. We'll have to see. I don't know. So for me, Final Fantasy III for Damina, Final Fantasy VII. Online, Final Fantasy XI by far. In fact, if they released an HD version of that now, I'd still be playing it. And so would Celsius and Damina. We've already had that conversation. Just a hell of a great game if you were a Final Fantasy fanboy. And I am. Thank you, Sturmnas. Next question. Alright, so Mr. Azukorai says, I love this. Keep doing what you're doing. I know you get some hate, so why do you keep producing content? This is a good question, and we actually get this quite a bit. Pretty much everybody that puts themselves out there on the internet, whether it's on YouTube, on their own site, whether it's just a vlog, they come across this as well, and a lot of people ask this question. Because there's a couple different types of hates or dislikes, and it's important to know, at least from my own personal opinion and experience, how to deal with each of them. And, you know, Spunkify may have different advice. If he ever does an MMOBomb, we may want to ask him that. As Ask MMOBomb, we'll ask him as well. But my advice would be, you need to separate the dislikes into a couple of categories. Because there's different types of dislikes. First off, you have to realize when you're making content about anything, video games, magic. I make magic movies that are on my personal YouTube channel. If you're passionate about it, it really shouldn't matter what anybody else says, because it's something you like and it really doesn't matter. So that's always something to take into consideration. Don't make movies about something you're not passionate about, because once you get that first dislike and that first rude comment, you're going to stop. So make sure you're passionate about it. Now, about the comments themselves, there's a couple different types of comments. First off, you have to remember, it doesn't matter what you're making, somebody is not going to like it. It's not going to be favorited or liked by them. It's not going to have a pleasant comment on it. You could make a movie about puppies and rainbows and snow and babies, and somebody would put a comment on there about how much puppies suck. It just happens. You cannot please everybody. So it's important to acknowledge that right off the bat. Now, the first type of comment you're all familiar with is the troll comment. It's the comment that provides nothing of value as far as critique or bettering the content. It's simply meant to demean. It makes fun of you, makes fun of the way you look, makes fun of your content, makes fun of your topic, makes fun of your opinion, but doesn't add anything. And it's fun. Some of the trolls are pretty funny. I mean, I get troll comments on just about every video, and I have a good laugh. I mean, I can't answer every comment on every video, but I do assure you I definitely read them all. So some troll comments are funny. Some are flat out mean on people's content, and it's unfortunate, but some people have a lot of time, and that's what they want to do. Those comments, there's not really much you can do with. You just gotta kind of grow a thicker skin and cast them aside. They don't help you in any way. Now, there's another type of a negative comment that you should pay attention to, and it's the negative comment where whoever typed it is providing a valuable critique. Whether you agree with them or not, it doesn't matter. You could totally disagree with them, but you should take their comment to heart. This is the type of comment that says, I really loved your video, I liked A, B, and C, I wasn't a huge fan of D. Some people will even take that one step further and say, I wasn't a huge fan of D, here's what I would recommend, or here's what I would have done had I been making the content. Now, those are the types of comments you really should take to heart, and I try to. You have to be willing to change the videos, change the content, things like that. It doesn't mean you have to change your opinion. I've given opinions on various games that some people didn't like. And I did like them, or a lot of people liked them, and I particularly didn't think they were great games. I'm not going to change my opinion on something I like and dislike, but I may change what I say about a game, or about a topic, or about a producer or a company based on information I acquire later, whether that's through a viewer's comment or through something, some research of my own. So it's important to take those comments, read them. You don't have to agree with them, but be willing to change and learn, and maybe be wrong. It happens all the time. Maybe be wrong, and on the next video, that person that gave you the critique may just be the one that clicks the like and puts a comment in there about how much they like you were willing to take the critique. Again, you're not going to please everyone. Ignore the trolls, grow a little bit of a thicker skin, but pay attention to the comments that are actually trying to help you and provide valuable information and valuable critique. And if you're passionate about it, it really doesn't matter what any of them say. Just keep doing what you're doing because you love doing it, not because you're trying to please somebody else. Well, that's all the time we have for today, guys. I want to thank you for joining Ask MMOBomb today. What we need you to do is put your questions below, just like last week. Click like, come on over to the website, put your comments there. You can even email them directly to me at magicman@mmobomb.com. And until next week, guys, me and the bad guy say stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.